Pirates. We are still in Malta. I've been trying to use an external microphone, you might have noticed on the last two vlogs, and I think one of the cables is starting to short out, so I'm not going to do it today. What we're going to do today is what I was trying to do yesterday for the second half of the day, but it rained the rest of the day, and I was advised not to go. So today we're going to go to Ggantija, the island that has the oldest man-made structure in existence. This should be fun. I can't wait. We actually have to go take a ferry. I think it's like a half an hour ride over and then take a bus there. So Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. A bit of a line for the ferry. So from the time that I got off the bus till the time I'm boarding was about a half an hour. So the deal with the ferry is that they run like once every half hour, something like that, and it's like a 20-minute trip, but they don't charge you on the way there, they only charge you on the way back. So we're on our way to Ggantija now to see the oldest man-made structure in the world. Now this island has a really weird story. They say that a giantess lived on this island and lived on broad beans and had a baby with a common man and built these temples with that baby hanging off of her. So I don't know. Let's go check it out. We're about to depart. My life, my love, my lady is the sea. Here we go, off on the Mediterranean. Departing the ferry. So I actually bought a ticket for this. Normally I wouldn't, but I wanted to save myself some time. When I saw how long the line for the ferry was, I figured the public bus would be just as bad. So this is €15 to get me here and back, from the ferry to the temples and back. That's where we're going. Well, we are here at the Ggantija temples, the oldest man-made structure known in the world, going back 5,500 years, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Alright, I got my ticket. Let's go see some megalithic temples. Here's our first site. Look how large those rocks are that's constructed of. Now I already mentioned to you more of the folklore idea of how this was all constructed, but some people actually believe that these were constructed by aliens, because these were constructed before the invention of the wheel and before metal instruments or tools were ever introduced to Malta. They said they found evidence of circular objects that they created to use as ball bearings for their vehicles to move some of these. There's all kinds of theories, but they did find some artifacts in the rubble here that they believe are part of the fertility rite. They were an old cult, and they believe that these were possibly constructed by them. So there's all kinds of theories about this. Me personally, I like the idea of the giantess having a baby with a commoner. Creating this is a better idea.
Welcome to Ggantija, the oldest freestanding structure in the world. The construction of this prehistoric temple complex began around 5,600 years ago by the Ggantija community of farmers and herders.
That's what we're going to see right there, that layout.
Settled permanently on the Maltese islands in the closing years of the 6th millennium BC. Ggantija stayed in use for several hundred years, down to the 3rd millennium BC, when the Maltese temple culture disappeared abruptly and mysteriously. Eventually, the successive inhabitants of the early Bronze Age seem to have utilized the resultant ruins as a cremation cemetery.
And they said in the numerous altars that they found here that they found animal bones, so they believe they were used for animal sacrifice. Now they show this as an example that can be lightly found in a decoration right on the outside of this. Now oddly enough, I mean, if you can believe it, they say that they find evidence of plaster here, giving hint that there were actually coverings like for the walls, almost like, if you can imagine, like a drywall type idea. And they found numerous of these holes, and they don't know exactly what they were for, but they think it could have been to move liquid from room to room, maybe plumbing. And in this room they believe that because of this hearth and the red coloring on the other side, that this is where they would have had their fires. And look at the flagstones they used, those square stones, they still exist here. That's crazy. Take a look at those. So if you look beneath this walkway, there's this big, large slab right here, this big stone slab. They said when they excavated it and lifted it, they found 158 pieces of pottery and shells and a bullhorn. What an amazing experience. What an absolutely incredible experience. I mean, just to know that these are considered to be the oldest relics, the oldest man-made structures in the world, and I'm actually seeing it. We're actually seeing it together. It's crazy, especially when there's a giantess folklore behind it. Some people believe it was built by aliens. Some people believe it was by a fertility cult. I mean, wow. Now it's built almost in like two big circles. So we're going into the second part now. They say that the holes here kind of help indicate the age. Now right here they actually believe that this might have been added later, this little rectangular thing, because they said it looked like it was used, or it was made by metal tools and they didn't have them in the early period. There's another one of those holes. Kind of reminds me of Pompeii. Just being kind of shocked, you know, you forget that there were civilizations this long ago creating rooms and seeing things we have today. Now it says these are made out of upper coralline limestone boulders. And another hole going through the room. Stuff like this. Look how big that is. And look at the markings in there. This makes you wonder how it would have been moved without the wheel, without modern technologies. And then the graffiti on this one is actually dated. Some of it says 1840. So these were done much, much later. Yeah, look at these giant slabs. I mean, those are huge.
I have to explain the ritual.
Same here. The holes in there. Here's our view from the temples. What they would have looked out on, or what it looks out on now. Now, as I mentioned, I had read up a lot because I kept finding crazy theories on how this was constructed. And one of the theories, I swear, was that somebody said they believed that because of the time period this was created, that a lot of these structures, well, that one right there in particular, if you look right up here, you see a long, big, flat stone. They said, how could that have been lifted without the technologies that we know didn't exist then? And they actually believe, this guy said that he believed there was something called acoustic levitation, and that it took an entire village of people using their voice to actually lift that stone. Who knows? Who knows? Now, there are actually quite a few of these kind of megalithic temples around Malta, but this one's in Gozo, and I wanted to come to this one because it was the absolute oldest. And I'm trying to, actually right now I'm doing a travel book that I'm hoping to get published, and I wanted to include something like this in there. I thought these are the kind of things that people need to know about and go see in their life. You can see that now they have some bracing or some supports there, but I mean, 5,500 years, I guess if they stood there that long, they're probably not going to fall down anytime soon. Right here's a fine example. Look how large those stones are that they've got standing up, creating the walls. A friend of mine was just telling me they did a Ancient Aliens episode about this. Right now, I'm just really trying to give you every angle possible. Now, this is called the North Cave, and they said they discovered this in 1949, and they believe that it goes back to the Tarsian phase of 3000 to 2500 BC, and they think that it might have been the rubbish pit for the temples. Said a lot of material of this phase was found in it, along with a few Ggantija pottery shreds and fragments. And of course, animal bones and human bones, they said. Wouldn't you love to go down there and explore that? And I love all the wildflowers on the premises right now. All right, we've made it 360 all the way around and inside. What an amazing experience. If you ever can get here, go check out the temples of Ggantija. It's amazing. Now I want to go see that guy, that big windmill. I really wish I would have given myself another couple of days in Malta, because I would have loved to have stayed in Gozo another day. There's so much to do on this island, and I'm really only going to be here for a couple hours. If you ever just need a great escape, I highly recommend Malta. This is such a peaceful place. Granted, I'm here in the off season. I'm here in March, or April. It's April now, isn't it? They say that when it's the height of the season, come June, you have to have reservations in advance for these temples. There's our windmill in all its glory, with the Maltese flag above it. I think we can actually go inside in some way. Let's go check it out. It says that these windmills are some of the only remaining windmills left in Malta that survive the Knights period, the Knights of Malta period. It says some of the origins go back to 1725. Well, it's open, that's a good sign. Windmill Museum. As soon as you come in the museum, they have a bunch of tools and a dedication to the last miller of the Daze windmill, and then a bunch of his tools, including a gun. God, I wasn't even thinking that somebody actually lived in here at one point. I guess that makes sense. I want to live in a windmill. Are the bedrooms. You're getting a full tour. Is that where the baby would have slept, above, hanging above you, or am I just being stupid? Some of the original irons and plates. All right, let's keep going up. Made it to the top. That's the view out the windmill. That was cool. That was worth it to see at the top of the windmill. Well, now I think I'm going to try and catch my bus back to the ferry and head back to the mainland, or Malta, the island. Back on the boat. Maybe they're gonna have a race back to Malta. Who do you think will win? This is a cool island, even though I was only here for a few hours. Look how absolutely beautiful that water is. All right, we are out of here. All right, my friends, well, we're gonna call it a day, and I'm gonna start my next vlog that you will see tomorrow. So big shout out, thank yous to Mary E. Bob, Michelle Mello, Scotty Burnett, and Sean Glosson. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you again from Malta, but not Maleha, somewhere else in Malta. Goodbye.